The NASCAR playoffs are among the most interesting in professional sports because one, they don't play, they race. And secondly, teams that have already been eliminated from the playoffs or didn't even make them in the first place are still on the track competing against playoff drivers in the exact same race. There could be up to 40 drivers on the racetrack and as little as 4 of them being scored in the playoffs, with 36 other drivers on the track influencing the outcome of the respective race. So in this video, we are going to look at all 36 instances of playoff spoilers in the NASCAR Cup Series dating back to 2004 when NASCAR introduced the chase. I have split this into two categories for the two vastly different playoff formats. From 2004 to 2013, we'll be looking at the chase format, and then from 2014 onwards, we're going to be looking at the elimination format that dropped drivers each round. To keep things simple and our graph looking clean and consistent, there have been exactly 18 instances among these two different formats, 36 playoff spoilers in total. Let's go to the start to the first chase in 2004. For the 2004 chase, the top 10 in points would be reset with 10 races to go and battle it out for the championship. Front row Joe Nemechek would be the first driver to play playoff spoiler in the NASCAR Cup Series, doing so in the fourth race of the 2004 chase at Kansas. This wasn't much of a surprise win though. Nemechek sat on the pole for this race, leading 41 laps and winning. It was Nemechek's fourth and final win in the NASCAR Cup Series. This was also the final win for MB2 Motorsports. This 01 car would eventually merge into Gin Racing, which would eventually merge into Dale Earnhardt Incorporated. Mark Martin never won in the 01 car, Joe Nemechek did. A few weeks later in the 2004 finale, that great championship battle with Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., it was Greg Biffle who stole the show from a second starting position. He led 171 laps, and this was actually his second win of the season. He won earlier in the season, race 23 at Michigan. He was 17th in the final point standings. The first driver to play spoiler in 2005 was Dale Jarrett. It was the 2000 NASCAR Cup Series champions' 32nd and final Cup Series victory. This race also marked Robert Yates Racing 58th and final win at the Cup Series level. The team would merge with Richard Petty Motorsports in late 2009, after earlier that year Gillette Evernham Motorsports merged with Petty Enterprises. You gotta love all the random mergers that happened following the 2008 financial crisis. That was the third race of the chase. Now we have to move to the sixth race of the chase where Jeff Gordon played spoiler, and this one is crazy for a few different reasons. For one, Jeff Gordon was 3 laps down at one point in this race. It was a crazy comeback, getting back on the lead lap and leading 151 laps to win. Second, this was his 4th win of the season, which included the season opening Daytona 500. That's right, Jeff Gordon missed the chase with 3 wins on the season. People could not comprehend that in today's playoff era. This win also marked the first victory with Steve Letarte, who took over the 24 team 6 races earlier from Robbie Loomis after Gordon failed to make the chase. Next up, we go to the penultimate race of Kyle Busch's rookie season, race 9 of the 2005 chase. This was actually Kyle Busch's second victory of the season. He won a few weeks earlier at Fontana as well. Busch led 63 laps in this one from the 15th starting position. At the time, Kyle Busch was the youngest winner in NASCAR Cup Series history. Moving to 2006, we have Tony Stewart, who won the chase and the championship in 2005, but after an up-and-down summer, led the 2-win Stewart to miss the chase by just 16 points to Kasey Kahne, despite being as high as second in points after 11 races. Stewart played the fuel mileage game perfectly in this one, coming out on top after leading 5 laps, as chasers ran out of gas and had to pit towards the end of the race. He was 11th in points, just outside of the chase when he won this race. The next week at Talladega, we had the first career win for Brian Vickers, but this one is more known for the controversy at the end of the race that saw him spin out his championship contending teammate Jimmy Johnson, along with race leader Dale Earnhardt Jr., on the last lap to take the victory. It was not a popular victory for Brian Vickers. This was his only win at Hendrick Motorsports, where he won the 2003 NASCAR Busch Series Championship. For the second time in the 2006 chase, Big Orange played spoiler again 3 weeks later, this time with a dominant effort at Atlanta, leading 146 of 325 laps. The next week, even more dominant, almost doubling his laps led, 278 out of 339 at Texas. Stewart won his 3rd race of the 2006 chase despite not being in the chase. Had Stewart made the chase in the 10th position over Kasey Kahne, he would have entered the season finale at Homestead just 21 points back of Jimmy Johnson. That would have been a pretty good battle. Stewart's domination was surely part of the reason that the chase field was expanded from 10 drivers to 12 for 2007. Let's add one more to the list in 2006, why not? Half of the chase races were won by non-chasers, and it was capped off by Biffle playing spoiler at Homestead for the second time in 3 seasons. Again, it was Biffle's second win of the season after he dominated many races early in 2006 but struggled to close them out despite a Darlington win. Biffle had made the 2005 chase the year before, winning the finale at Homestead, finishing second in points, making this a Homestead three-peat for the 16 car. Moving on to 2007, Biffle was again the next driver to play spoiler, but this one finished with even more controversy than Brian Vickers' 2006 Talladega win. Race 3 at Kansas, originally scheduled for 267 laps, was shortened to 225 laps after 2 rain delays. Once they got back racing, there were quite a few cautions, so the race was shortened again to 210 laps. Biffle was cruising to the win with 4 laps to go when Juan Pablo Montoya blew a tire on the back straightaway. With the darkness impeding on the racetrack, which did not have lights, NASCAR decided to run the last few laps under caution instead of a green-white checkered. To make this whole charade even more insane, Greg Biffle ran out of gas coming out of turn 4 and failed to keep up to pace car speed. He was passed by both chasers Clint Bowyer and Jimmy Johnson, along with Casey Mears. He kind of pretended to do a burnout in the grass, but everyone knew he ran out of fuel. The finish was questioned by both Johnson and Bowyer in their post-race interviews, but NASCAR deemed Greg Biffle the final winner. 2008 was the first season without a non-chaser breaking into victory lane, so we have to jump to Talladega 2009, where we meet Jamie McMurray. Despite being 22nd in points after this win, this was Jamie McMurray's only top 5 finish of 2009, and his final of 2 wins for Roush before moving back to Chip Ganassi Racing in 2010. Speaking of Jamie McMurray for Chip Ganassi Racing in 2010, McMurray won the Bank of America 500 for his 3rd win of 2010, which included the 2 crown jewels of the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400. Much like Tony Stewart in 2006, this season by McMurray is credited with the wildcard system that was introduced in 2010 that gave 2 positions in the chase to drivers with the most wins outside of the top 10 in points between 10th and 20th. Another Talladega appearance on this list, this time in 2011 with Clint Bowyer. He started 3rd, led 25 laps. This was his 5th and final victory for Richard Childress Racing. All I'm going to say is the wrong guy won this race. One more for 2011, this was Kasey Kahne at Phoenix. This was Red Bull Racing's 2nd and final Cup Series win in the penultimate race for the team that would shut down before 2012. Kahne was in a weird stopgap year situation after signing a contract for 2012 with Hendrick Motorsports in the middle of the 2010 season. Joining 2008, 2012 would be the final year under the chase format that saw no spoilers enter victory lane. Race 5 at Charlotte, after winning the championship in 2012, Keselowski would miss the 2013 chase. This was his only win on the season and his 10th in his career. A 3rd McMurray appearance happened the following week, his first win since that race in Charlotte in 2010. Despite running full-time for 5 more seasons following this year, McMurray would never win again, this being his 7th and final NASCAR Cup Series victory. And the last driver to do this in the chase era happened in the last race of the chase era, the only season to date in Denny Hamlin's 20-year career where he missed the chase or the playoffs, after he missed 4 races earlier in the season, sustaining a back injury while fighting for the win on the last lap at Fontana in that classic finish with Joey Logano and Kyle Busch. Those are the 18 spoilers in the chase era. Now let's move on to the 18 in the playoff era. Between 2013 and 2014, the playoff field was expanded from 12 to 16, meaning that there were less drivers able to spoil, but not really. Since NASCAR would eliminate drivers in 3 race rounds from 16 to 12 to 8 and then finally to the 4, there were going to be good cars getting eliminated in early rounds of the playoffs that could still win races in the later rounds. And that was the exact case for our first spoiler in the playoff era, Dale Earnhardt Jr. at Martinsville, race 1 in the round of 8. Dale Jr. was in the midst of a late career resurgence, winning for the 4th time in 2014, which included his 2nd Daytona 500 along with his Pocono sweep. Jr. was eliminated in the round of 12, but was 2nd in points at the end of the regular season. The next week, it would be his Hendrick teammate Jimmy Johnson dominating at Texas, stealing the thunder of the round of 8, leaving all 4 final 4 positions open heading into the round of 8 finale. The 2013 and final champion of the chase format was eliminated in the round of 12. This was his 4th win of 2014. The next driver to do it, well, that was Jimmy Johnson 1 year later at the same track. Johnson stole this one from Brad Keselowski, who led 312 of 334 laps, passing him with just 4 laps to go. Keselowski, who finished 32nd the week before at Martinsville, failed to make the final 4 after losing this race. This was Johnson's 5th win of the season, by all metrics a Final Four worthy season, but he had a disappointing round of 16 exit after finishing 41st at Dover with a mechanical failure. In a reverse of 2014, the next week it was Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s turn, winning a rain-shortened race at Phoenix. His 3rd win of 2015 coming from the 3rd starting position, it was the final of 26 on his NASCAR Cup Series career. Nobody played spoiler in 2016, but we got a fairy tale ending to 2017. Matt Kenseth won the second to last race of 2017, a season which saw him post 10 top 5s, but still lose his ride to young TRD driver Eric Jones. Matt, without a ride for 2018, also got closure for the end of race wreck here 1 year ago that saw him miss out on the Final Four. In the last season, he had a real good shot at the championship, posting 5 wins in 2016. Kenseth was also eliminated in pretty controversial fashion after one too many men went over the wall to repair crash damage he sustained while above the cut line at Kansas, immediately disqualifying him from the race. This was the one and only playoff spoiler win under the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series banner. It took almost 3 full years for another spoiler, and it was another defending champion, this time 2019 champion Kyle Busch in 2020. This win, with just 2 more races left in the season, saved Kyle Busch's streak of winning a race in every single season, making it 16 years in a row with a victory, going back to his rookie season in 2005, which also appeared in this video. Busch had been eliminated in the round of 12. In 2021, for the first time, we saw a driver who actually missed the playoffs come in and win a playoff race. The other 6 wins were all from drivers who had made the playoffs but had been eliminated and were no longer in contention. This one, another rain-shortened victory, was Bubba Wallace's first career win, and also the first win for 2311, which was in its debut season. This would be the only win that 2311 got in the Generation 6 car. A few weeks later, at the cutoff race for the round of 8, it was Alex Bowman, who was having a career year, winning his 4th race of the season after spinning Denny Hamlin for the lead with 5 laps to go. Bowman had made the playoffs but was eliminated in the round of 12. He only led 9 laps in this victory. For the first time in the elimination era, we saw a spoiler in the round of 16, but better yet, this was the first time a non-playoff or chase driver won the playoff opener. Jones would win his first race since 2020 and would win the only race for the shortly lived Petty GMS Motorsports. Petty Gallagher Motorsports, what a team name. The team rebranded to Legacy Motor Club in 2023, where it is still yet to earn its maiden win. This is Jones' 3rd and most recent Cup Series victory. The next week, we saw Bubba Wallace play spoiler for the 2nd time, which was also his 2nd career victory. Despite not being in the playoffs himself, this win was significant for the owner playoffs, as the 45 car had made the owners playoffs thanks to Kurt Busch's win at Kansas earlier in the season. This was the 2nd of 3 consecutive wins for the 2311 45 car at Kansas Speedway, all 3 coming with different drivers. Some way, somehow, we had a round of 16 sweep of non-playoff drivers. The 3rd guy to do it would be Chris Buescher. This would be his first win without the assistance of Mother Nature, of course winning that fog race at Pocono in 2016. And this would be the first win for Roush, now branded as RFK, since 2017. This was a real sign of the tides turning at RFK, with both cars, Keselowski and Buescher, making the playoffs the next year in 2023, finishing 7th and 8th in the point standings. But it keeps going. 4 races into the 2024 playoffs, and 4 non-playoff drivers went to victory lane. This was especially painful for Tyler Reddick, who made the playoffs but was eliminated in the round of 16 after getting involved in wrecks at both Kansas and Bristol after a strong 3rd place run at Darlington. This was his 3rd win of the season and the 3rd of his career, the first not coming on a road course. It was also his final win at Richard Childress Racing before he moved on to 2311 to take over the 45 car, where he would go on to become the 3rd driver in that equation to win at Kansas in the 45. Equaling the total from 2006, we saw defending champion Kyle Larson dominate at Homestead, becoming the 5th non-playoff driver to win in 2022. Larson was eliminated by just 2 points in the round of 12 after breaking a toe link late in the race at the Charlotte Roval, finishing 5 laps down. This one would have punched his ticket into the Final Four for the second consecutive season. Finally moving on to 2023, and we have AJ Allmendinger, who won his 3rd career race in his first full-time Cup season since 2018. He led 46 of 109 laps. This was his 2nd win for Colleague Racing, to date the only driver to win for the team at the NASCAR Cup Series level. For the first and only time in the elimination era, we saw a non-Final Four driver win the championship race. It was Ross Chastain. This was his 2nd win of 2023. Really strong car, leading 157 of 312 laps. But this definitely left fans wondering what could have been after he made the Cinderella run to the Final Four just 1 year prior. He was eliminated in the round of 12 this year, finishing the season 9th in points. After making the playoffs in 2023, Buescher would miss the playoffs despite being 11th in the driver points. And then of course in Chris Buescher fashion, he would win in the round of 16, the only time Watkins Glen has been featured in the NASCAR playoffs. He was 18th in points at the time of the victory, but would go on to finish 17th, the best of the rest. After 2 consecutive playoff appearances, Ross Chastain also missed the 2024 playoffs, but managed to win the 5th race of his career at Kansas, becoming a 2-time spoiler, winning the opener for the round of 12. He led 52 laps from the 20th starting position. And the final spoiler on our list, it was the next weekend, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning his 4th career race, which was the 3rd and final win for JTG Daugherty Racing, which was sold and rebranded to Hayek Motorsports for 2025. He led 19 laps in this one, ending up 23rd in points after this race. Stenhouse had made the playoffs the previous year in 2023, thanks to his Daytona 500 victory. So there it is, all 36 drivers to play spoiler in the NASCAR playoffs, and looking at the current format, it's fair to say that this list is going to continue to grow with time. Thanks so much for watching.